Morning, everybody. Afternoon, even. We do have a few moments before we start. So if you want to drop into the chat whereabouts you are dialing in from, if you are having lunch whilst doing this lunch and learn, also feel free to drop into the chat what you're having for lunch. And if you haven't had lunch yet, let us know what you are going to be having for lunch. So we do have 2 minutes before we start. This is being recorded. So if you are watching this on catch up and you're not having lunch, you could let us know in a comment on our YouTube channel what you managed to have. The Q&A box is also open. So if you want to let us have any questions, we will do our best to answer those at the end. Dean, Manchester, beetroot salad. I'm in Manchester as well. You don't have to tell me precisely where in Manchester you are, but I am in the northern quarter overlooking the Etihad Stadium. I haven't got a beetroot salad for lunch. That does sound pretty nice, though. If you are joining us, we have around about 60 seconds to go. So let us know in the chat where you're dialing in from. Breakfast in Canada. Dan, I think you certainly win the award. If no one else can beat breakfast in Canada, that wins the award for the most luxurious location. Whereabouts in Canada? Birmingham, not quite Canada. I think Canada certainly does get the award. Outside Toronto, well, you are very welcome. Okay, so it has turned 12:30. This is the first of a Lunch and Learn series of webinars from BigChange. We are going to aim to do this in under 15 minutes. So we have a very short agenda. What are alerts? Why you will want to use them? How to set them up, and the meat of today's session, the alerts that you will want to leave today and set up right now. My name is Jonathan Isaacs. I'm Product Marketing Manager here at BigChange. You are very welcome. If you are not a BigChange customer, you are also welcome. We do these webinars. I'm not going to tell you a huge amount of what BigChange does because we are short on time, but we are one of the best all-in-one job management platforms out there. And you can see on screen things that we do. Hopefully your screen will look something like this. The chat is open. Ask Q&As are open. If you love something, feel free to like it or thumbs up. Please don't use the raise hand button. It won't do anything. We do have a few problems with Teams today. So I was hoping to do some polls, but they may or may not happen. When it comes to the chat, don't put anything in it like your personal details, your bank details, mother and maiden name, or anything like that, because they will be viewable by everybody. And if you have any questions, I will aim to get to them at the end if we have some time. But as I said, we are time against us. The recording of this will be made available on our YouTube channel. If you aren't subscribed, head over to youtube.com/@BigChange. Hit the subscribe button, hit the bell button, and you will be notified when this recording goes live. If you are subscribed to our YouTube channel, let us know in the chat. And if you're not subscribed, go ahead and do so now. I mentioned Teams is giving us some issues. If it does disconnect me, please hang around. I will come back, I promise. So, first things first, what are alerts? In very simple terms, it's a way of getting notified that an action or a series of actions have taken place in BigChange that you are interested in. Now, these types of interactions or alerts can be sent to you by email. They can be sent to your phone as a text message, or if you have a JobWatch device, you can use it as a message on a JobWatch app. But the best thing is that you can use a combination of all of those at the same time, and they can go to different people. So rather than being chained to your desk and waiting for something to happen, you can be out and about and you can be notified the instant an action or series of actions that you're interested in take place. So why do you want to use alerts? Well, there's 6 reasons on screen that you will want to use alerts. The first one is time efficiency. By eliminating the need to repeatedly check for updates on your system, you will receive notifications only when there's relevant information for your tasks, allowing you to focus on other things at a time. Immediate updates. Alerts provide you with real-time information, ensuring you're immediately aware of any changes, and that can be crucial in time-sensitive situations. By relying on alerts, you can maintain a better focus on your work without frequent interruptions caused by manual checking, and that can give you a higher productivity and better use of your time. Customization. Alerts can be tailored to your specific needs and preferences, allowing you to receive notifications just for the tasks and areas of the platform that you're interested in, filtering out unnecessary information. It's entirely scalable from multiple sources, and they can handle numerous different aspects of the platform with minimal effort. And it allows you to improve your response times because you get those immediate notifications. So before we get onto the alerts that you are going to want to set up today after today's session, very quick run through as to how you can set up alerts. This process is the same regardless of the alerts that I am going to be showing you. So if you don't have these things on your screen, you may need to check with your administrator to get permissions. But if you head over to the alerts tab on the top of the screen, you will hopefully see something like this. There are two sections: alerts raised, where you can see the alerts that have been sent, and then you have the alerts programmed section. And this is where you creatively program the alerts. You can also filter down the alerts that are active, inactive, who they've been created by, and various other aspects as well. Now, we're going to talk about in this section very quickly how to create an alert, and then we will get onto the alerts that you will want to create today. So you click on the new alert button and you're presented with this box. There are three sections, and the first section expands. In fact, all of the sections expand when you put something inside them. The first section is who, and this is where you are actually describing the thing that happens in BigChange, and they pivot around 4 or 5 areas of the platform: resources, vehicles, web users, jobs, and contacts. Now, in the examples that I show you, we will most likely select the any variety, which is at the top of each of those segments. But you'll be able to filter them down to specific items or group of specific items if you want to. But we will go through any of those particular resource sections. So in this case, I'm going to select any resource, and you'll see that the what has changed. We now have the ability to select something else. So if I click on what, we can say stops, and then we have different times. So we can say when any resource stops anywhere, immediately, at any time, any day, and then we can add recipients. Now, this isn't one of the 6 alerts you'll want to set up today. This is just going through the general process. So we can then select a dynamic alert. Now, dynamic alerts are where some real magic happens. They allow you to trigger alerts to specific people based on the who. So if I wanted to set up an alert just for the resources or the engineers or the drivers that I manage, I can set up an alert across the entire platform. But the option that I could select, if I bring this on screen, could be the manager of the resource, a text message, or an email of the resource. So one alert can then be triggered and filtered to multiple different participants, all with one alert. Once we've added those items, we can then select the message that's to be sent. Now, again, we have various different options on screen, including text and email, and we can select the subject, message body, and we can use a template. So we can have a template which includes keywords, so that when it's sent to the customer, we can have a beautiful email that gets sent out like that. So let's go on to the alerts that you will want to leave and set up today. Now, hopefully, these are going to give you some ideas as to the type of things you can be using alerts for. But the truth is, this is endless. The possibilities are endless, and we have seen some really fantastic things from our customers in the past. So I highly recommend after this session today, or when you finish breakfast, perhaps in Canada, or lunch today, grab 30 minutes coffee and spend about 30 minutes just looking through the alerts section and seeing what works for you. This will be available on our YouTube channel to watch up. If you have got any amazing alerts, if you have got any alerts that you've set up, do drop them into the chat, what you use them for. It'd be great to hear from you. And there is a help site article on alerts as well. So the first one is, these are alerts that you will want to set up today for managing your resources. Now, when we say resources, we, of course, talking about engineers, we are talking about drivers, we are talking about those guys and girls out in the field. Now, the process of these alerts is where I'm going to describe a scenario to you on screen, and I'm going to show the alert that you need to set up. So in this case, you might want to be notified when a vehicle defect is raised, but it is so significant that it's going to be taken off the road. So in this example here, we have any resource. Again, you might filter it down on a specific group of resources, has raised a defect of critical, anytime, any day. And here we are sending it to the fleet manager and the manager of the resource who has set up that defect, so that they can look at the schedule and perhaps rearrange things. So really, really fantastic example for your defect side of things. In this case, we are going to think that if a resource or driver or engineer completes them so quickly, they might not have actually completed a vehicle check. So in this case, when a vehicle check has been completed in a shorter or longer period of time, then we enter on screen. That might give us cause for concern that they've just answered all of the questions randomly without actually looking at them. And in this case, we've got some options. If their driving speed is very dangerous, we actually have 3 options when it comes to driving speed. We can use the percentage of a speed limit. If they go over by a fixed amount, so if they are in a 30 and go 20 miles an hour over the speed limit, it would trigger. And then finally, if it's a fixed amount or over, so if you set this limit here at 70 and they ever go over 70, regardless of the road speed limit, you will get notified. Now, in this example here for resources, what happens if something goes wrong whilst on a job? In this case, we can set up an alert when they give a specific answer in a worksheet question. So in this case, when an engineer replies in the worksheet questions, bathroom installations, was the installation successful? We can get alerted to that based on the response of no. And you can do that with any worksheet question. And on screen, hopefully you'll be able to see the answers at risk section, and that gives you the response that will be alerted on. Many of our customers use skills, and you can be notified when one of those skills or qualifications is about to expire. Again, you can use any resource or a group of resources and alert the manager or a fixed address when that skill is going to expire. We've put in 14 days. As some people have said in the chat, you can use it for wanting to take a holiday when they've been approved, requested, when they've been approved, and also the final one, which we're going to cover, is when a resource idles for a period of time. So they could be just sat at site with the engine running and just burning money on petrol. Now, this could be added at a specific location, if I can get my words out, and you could put those at a certain contact or contact group. And if you don't want it to be notified when they are at certain contacts, perhaps because they need PTO to load or unload what they're carrying, you can simply use the where clause to not add those contacts. So that's the first group of alerts that you will want to set up today for resources. Let's have a look at alerts that you'll want to set up for vehicles. If you're leasing your vehicles, and we have a fantastic offering for BigChange Fleet. If you've not heard of that, We will put a link into the chat later. I will endeavour to put a link into the chat later where you can get some fantastic deals on vehicles. If you're leasing your vehicles, you might want to know before a vehicle heads over that limit that you've got. Again, we've got any vehicle and the odometer reading goes above, in this case, 10,000 miles. We have set up territories. We will be doing something on a territory on a map webinar later this month. And in this case, we are having an alert when they go inside the London ULEZ. At any time, any day, you will get a notification when they go in so that you can pay for that charge rather than get the fine. Another creative example that we've seen is when a vehicle may have been stolen. And this could notify you. Now, this is a really good example of an alert that came up from one of our customers. They have any vehicle leaves, and then we've entered in the where the contact of our head office. And it would be unusual if that vehicle leaves the contact between the hours of 7 and 5 in the morning, because they don't normally leave. So we would be alerted to these different methods, a text message, email, and email to another location, if they were to leave site. And then finally, if you are using stock on our systems, you have the ability to say when vehicle stock is running low. So looking at the last section, these are alerts you will want to set up for jobs today. In this case, we have a job that is due soon because it has a constraint on it, but it has not yet been scheduled. So a job that is unscheduled and due, in this case, to start in 24 hours. This time we're going to have a pop-up on screen advising Dave that he needs to schedule the job or else it won't be completed. In this case, we are going to email our customers to let them know that an invoice is overdue and you'd like to remind them to pay. We have when any invoice, any financial document with a payment is overdue by 5 days. In this case, we used our dynamic recipients to send an email to the people who receive financial documents and the person who we sent the financial document to a reminder. In this case, it's a very basic message, but we can use our templates. We can use our templates to send a much more well-designed email. And finally, this is perhaps my most favorite alert. This is letting a customer know that you're running late and letting them track you. And this uses a combination of all of the things that we've talked about today. We've set up an alert, and again, you can filter it down for all jobs, jobs for a specific contact or a group of contacts. Has its status changed to late to start? And in this case, it's sending an email to the contact's email address. Now, all of these things here, the email subject and the message, whilst they're there, they're not going to actually be used. Instead, what we're going to use is the late arrival alert. Now, this is what the template is that I've created. It includes a placeholder for the name, job type, job reference, and resource. We've also included on screen a keyword for the live estimation. That's using current traffic conditions to bring in that live estimation. But we also have a live tracking link, which is in here, so that when the customer receives it, they get a beautiful looking email. Sorry, George, we're running a bit late. It gives us the ETA. And if they click on that link, they are taken to the booking site page where they can track them live. They don't need to have had a booking site set up. All of that is set up automatically. So that is the end of the webinar. I didn't actually manage to do it in 15 minutes. There or thereabouts. So I'm very quickly going to put into the chat 2 polls. If you bear with me 2 seconds, this would really help. This would really help. So the first question I'm going to put in is on a scale of 1 to 5, how valuable did you find this webinar? Where 1 is not very valuable at all and 5 is exceptionally valuable. The next poll, which I'm going to drop into the chat, is on a scale of 1 to 5, how likely you are to use these features as a result of this webinar. If you can let us know, that would be fantastic. Now, before you drop off, I'm going to give you some guides to what is coming up. We have done the first webinar on Lunch and Learns. The next one is on speedy shortcuts. That is going to take place a week today. Notifications will be going out tomorrow, but if you want to grab your space early, scan the QR code on screen and that will be taken to a website where you can register not just for that webinar, but for the webinar on the 13th of June. We haven't yet determined the topics for the 20th, 27th and 14th. 4th of July. If you have a topic that you would like us to cover, drop it into the chat now and we will consider that. Also available on our YouTube channel is the Innovate webinar, where we went through everything that was released in Q1. Including that was BigChange Fleet. We talked about that earlier with leasing vehicles. We have on screen a quote from a customer who managed to save £110 a month on a like-for-like basis of a vehicle. So head over to the YouTube channel now to take a look at that. Also, we included BigChange AI. Now, I can't give away too many details on this, but to complement BigChange Fleet, we have something that is coming out in release 24.06.01. It's going to be huge. I may well get in trouble by showing you this graphic. I can't confirm or deny what it is, but I would love to know what you think it might be. So drop it into the chat and I'd love to see some of your guesses. We do also have some tickets available for our customer growth event in Leeds on the 4th and 5th of June, which I think is next week. And we also have a customer growth event on the 2nd and 3rd of July. So if you would like tickets to either of those, head over to, no, you don't head over anywhere. Email louise.stone@bigchange.com. Our newsletter for April is out, and I am fingers and toes crossed that our newsletter for May will be coming out shortly, but it has to because there's only 2 days left. And you can scan the QR code on screen to be taken to our newsletter. So let me have a quick look to see if there are any questions. No questions in the Q&A box. So we are 5 minutes behind schedule, but thank you very much for joining us on today's Lunch and Learn webinar. For those of you who have put in your responses, I appreciate that. And on behalf of everyone at BigChange, thank you very much for joining us. And we hope to see you next week for another Lunch and Learn. Enjoy the rest of your day, guys, and speak soon.